Yo, 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 live on location. Me and D Miles are staying our asses at home here in Orlando trying to stay safe. And we got our OG big brother, New Jersey legend, New Jersey player in the building with us live on location from LA, California. Tim Thomas in the building, y'all. What it do, T?
What's up, fellas? What's going on? I'm about to enjoy this hour or two before my little guy get up.
Straight up.
Brought to you by AT&T 5G.
First question we ask everybody when they come on our show is, when you first got to the league, who was the first person to bust your ass?
Whoa.
Straight to it.
Steve Smith.
Smitty.
Yeah, it was slow, but it was right to the point, man. Steve was great in the pick and roll setting. Another 6'8", 6'9" guy get a shot off. Yeah. And he only needed, so much room to get a shot off. And just couldn't figure it out. And Smitty, I think that game he had about 40.
Ooh.
Patterson Catholic. Like I say, when I came up out of high school, like the aura and just the whispers about you was just like you was already in the league type stuff. And like I say, guys like you and KG and Sean Kemp, y'all was like my skin complexion. So it was like I really did. The black brothers could make it too. But Patterson Catholic, like how was it like, playing for Patterson Catholic, going to Patterson Catholic?
It was different because the two dominant schools was Eastside High, where they have the infamous Lean On Me movie, and then Kennedy High School. So those schools was well established, and then going to Patterson Catholic was something totally different, something totally new. They was known as Punk City because, it was a Catholic school. They had the best looking girls and all that kind of stuff. So going in, just changing the culture was everything. And then, being, the #1 freshman in the country, it kind of helped as well. So I was considered like the Tony Soprano of New Jersey at that particular time. No one wanted to come to New Jersey to see me, nor did they want us to come see them. So in a 4-year span, God rest his soul, in a 4-year span, me and Kobe was 1 and 2 in the country, right? We're an hour and a half away from each other, never played a game against each other.
That's crazy.
Y'all play AAU ball together though, right?
Yeah, we played AAU ball together, but that was, a little younger, but I'm talking like our high school days.
Yeah, right.
It could have been 1-on-1, hour and a half away from each other, never made it happen.
That is crazy. So how about this? Do you remember, I want to say it had to be 96, 97. Y'all came to Chicago for the Hoops in the Loop Classic.
Yeah.
Bruh, now this the first time I see you in person. I'm a young boy. I was, what am I, 15, 16, freshman, sophomore. I think I was a sophomore then. I'm up in that joint. And they like, yeah, it's Tim Thomas, blah, blah, you and what was his name? Kevin
Freeman.
Kevin Freeman had Stupid Bounce too.
Yeah.
These like the first two dudes I see where I'm like, yo, these dudes look like pros, like grown men. Kevin Freeman was like 6'6", D's, throwing that thing. I'll never forget, after that, I was like, Tim Thomas, the coldest high school player I've ever seen in person at that point, bro. Like,
appreciate
when you came there, how was that when you came to Chicago? Like, was that one of the few times, or did y'all travel out of the country, out of the state a lot?
No, we always traveled out of the state to play, against the best teams in the best showcases or tournaments. Being in Chicago was cool. We just heard a lot of talk about Ronnie Fields and KG, and a lot of people wanted us to play in that particular tournament. I don't think the scheduling worked out because I believe they went somewhere else.
Yeah, they did.
It was cool, man. It was cool. I mean, Chicago has a lot of history. I mean, as far as with the game and as many players as you guys put in the lead and all that kind of stuff. So it was cool to be in Chicago, man.
Yeah.
How was it like, East St. Louis is a small city and it's in between St. Louis and it's in between Chicago. And to be at a small town, to get fame like you in the NBA, but you actually just in high school, like how was that experience for you, like for the city?
we had a few guys come before me. Roy Sparrow, who went to Villanova, played with the Knicks. He still works in the NBA.
Shout out Rory.
Dwight Wilbur, who went to Nova as well. And then my guy, James Scott, went to St. John's and played with the Miami Heat for like 2 years. But no one has done it like I've done it on the scale. As far as, being a senior in high school, having an opportunity to, go straight to the lead and all that kind of stuff. It was different. And I think overall, it definitely put our city back on the map. And it kind of paved the way for some of the youngsters that came behind me,
You came up in that era where, the basketball camps and Adidas, this was when the legend was made of them.
Yeah.
So I want to know, because I know I came the following year. I wasn't there the year before. I heard how epic it was with you, Kobe, and then all of the young guys, the Elton that was there my year, but they were a year younger. So tell me, how was that when you set foot in that setting and you knew this was where your proving grounds was going to be? How was that experience for you?
I tell you what, the kids of today wouldn't be able to survive it. Wouldn't be able to survive it at all. I mean, it was war. Honestly, I mean, each and every game you was really going up against somebody that was a dog.
Yeah.
It's not like now where you can hide kids in the Under Armour circuit or the Nike circuit or things like that. I mean, you had to face guys, no matter if it was in the AAU settings or camp. You had to run into those guys and you had to show and prove. It was war, man. It was war. I mean, it was competitive. Guys didn't care about names, rank, or anything.
Right.
At the time, when you going up against somebody, that's just what it is. And I remember I think it was our junior year going into our senior year at ABCD camp when Kobe actually took over the #1 rank.
Yeah.
I was playing against Jermaine O'Neal and I was tearing him up, dunked the ball, ripped my fingernail off, and I couldn't play anymore the rest of the camp. And Kobe was just killing. I'm sitting on the side just watching him, kill. But yeah, man, these kids of today, man, they wouldn't be able to survive. Back then the way AAU was, it was like the Wild Wild West. You could get, players from anywhere. Like Kobe said and Vince said, we definitely played on the greatest AAU team ever, beating people by 60 points. I mean, you just can't, match what we had. Yeah, man, it was different. It was definitely different back in the day.
That was a time when you hear somebody's name and like you Tim Thomas and everybody raving for you, but just as much as everybody raving for you, people want to take a shot at the title.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? And like these days, I don't really see that as much. Like back in our days, it was like, if you got a name or you got anything, you need to be prepared every game because they coming.
Oh, yeah.
Even back then, though, you would find some of the, if it was, because I remember our year going into our senior year when it was big, Nike camp was so loaded that we had some of the Adidas guys, like Rashard Lewis was an Adidas guy coming up, but when we went to the camp, he had to come to Nike because if he wanted to get his ranking, he had to come where basically the whole top 15 was at Nike.
Yeah.
That was just a difference back then. I remember when I first went to Adidas camp, my first year going to Adidas camp was the year that T-Mac came from out of nowhere and went crazy.
Yeah, the windmill in the All-Star game went straight to the league.
I was one of the guys in the bleachers that went crazy, jumping around. It was ridiculous, bro. But that was the first time I was like this. I was like, oh snap! Like I did not have a good camp. I was sitting there like, yo, I gotta get in the lab. Like it's real. Like LO dribbling down the court at 6'10" under his legs and then skipping the ball and doing stuff. It was Khalid El-Amin was crazy. Then it was. I was looking around like, man, Greedy Daniels was a fool with it. It was some boys in there.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's different times.
Your McDonald game experience, like how was that with all that star power on the McDonald's team when you went?
Oh man, '96 was cool, man. We played down at the University of Pitt. Me and Kobe, our rooms was probably like 4 rooms apart, but we was just trying to figure each other out at that moment as far as who was really gonna make that jump, going to the league.
Stack Jack was on that.
Yeah, Steven Jackson was Maine, Mike Bibby, Rip Hamilton. The list goes on and on, man. Jermaine was on that on that team as well. Lester Earl. I mean, the list just goes on and
I
on.
remember
But,
Lester Earl too.
yeah, Lester Earl was an animal. But yeah, man. I mean, it was a great experience, man. It was the first time for a lot of us playing on national TV. Really showcase our talent, and I just wanted to showcase to everyone that I was just a little different than everyone.
Right.
Being 6'10", 240 pounds at that time. Can handle the
That's
ball like a
crazy.
guard. Can post and do so many different things. In the post and also shoot that long ball. So, I was just a little different, a little ahead of my time, just like you, D. I mean, when he came into the league. But it was an exciting time, man. And then to flip it around and play 2 weeks later in the Magic Round Ball game, um, that was another experience where we got to be around some of the NBA players. Like Kareem was out there, Grant Hill was there, Isaiah Thomas, Magic, of course, was there. And just being able to break bread with them to get some insight on our decision was very helpful. And I really think being in Detroit with all those guys really helped Kobe make his decision on going straight to the league.
Hey, how cool was it when you was at the McDonald's game? Like, this was always something that, like, when I got back, I was excited about it. Like, the way they always, like, every hour or so, they just come in with all of that McDonald's food and the chill and the little hospitality suite. You got,
Right.
like, all the video games. Then it's, like, unlimited food. Like, what?
Right.
We back then, McDonald's was everything, bro. Like,
Yeah.
just every hour on the hour. Then like I like too that they, the whole behind the scenes aspect. When you have a big ceremony, they fit you for tuxedos. You get the
Right.
rings, and you get to meet John Wooden and stuff. Like all of that stuff is like I still got pictures right now.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you? Because I had never been sized up for a tuxedo and got you know what I'm saying, did all those things.
Yeah. A lot of us, went through that same process and was excited about it. I mean, we all came from the inner city, so it was all new to us.
Straight
A
up.
tuxedo with a bow tie. What is this?
Man,
right.
cummerbund, like what? How you do this? Like,
and I got my buttons on the right way. Like, what's going on? But yeah, man. I mean, just overall, like I said, it was one of those experiences, for all of us, really. I mean, a lot of us playing that on national TV and going through those experiences, meeting different people. The heads and the CEOs of McDonald's.
yeah.
Getting that free food and the French fries always hot and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was just everything, man. I mean, they really make you feel like you're really on your way to becoming, a superstar.
He was one of the guys that I just knew for sure was going to come straight out of high school. Like the buzz around you,
Wow.
you was already equipped with that shit. like I couldn't believe that you actually didn't go to the pros, and Villanova wasn't the most popular team at the time for you to be the number one or the number two player to even choose. Like, what made you decide not to go pro, even though everybody's thinking you're going pro,
right,
and choosing Villanova?
Well, the thing about the whole pro thing was that, first of all, I had nieces and nephews that was coming behind me, so I wanted to set an example with that. But the whole pro thing was I wanted to be top 10 in any draft. So the year 96, me and Kobe going through the McDonald's game and also the Magic Round Ball game, just asking each other if we was going to make that jump. And at that particular time, I think me and him both was either 13 or 20, somewhere in that area. And for me, like I said, I always wanted to be top 10. So when we've realized where we was at on the board, that's when we kind of made the decision, like, okay, let's go to college for 1 year, tear up, and then, we'll definitely be in that top 10 category. So picking Villanova, they had Jason Lawson and Alvin Williams, guys that was considered to be pros. And Seton Hall and Rutgers didn't really have anybody at that particular time. Although I could have went to Seton Hall and played with Shaheen Holloway, but I chose to go, down to Philly and play with two guys that I was thinking that was going to be pros, which, turned out to be true. And just kind of learn and grow from them in that 6 month span of being in college. So that's why I chose Villanova. Also, Lapis was going to allow me to play the three. With my size, a lot of schools was recruiting me as a four. But I just wanted to show that I had that bag.
You decided to go out. and come out. Did you think you was going to get, matter of fact, before I ask that, how many workouts did you have to go through?
That's funny, man. I went through maybe 3 workouts.
Mm-hmm.
Look.
So I went Philly, Jersey twice, and then Boston, because Boston had the 3rd and 6th pick, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So with Boston, you know, I kind of egged Rick Pitino off during my high school days. So he actually flew me all the way to Kentucky for a Boston workout.
Wow.
and just basically had me running the entire time.
That was just
he called for that.
Yeah. So I basically told my agent, tell him at the time, I said, well, it won't be Boston.
Right.
Because I'm not just going to come down here and just run suicides. You know what I can do. Like, come on, don't play me like that.
So you being in Philly and you get drafted for Philly, like, how was that? Like, was you excited to be drafted with Philly? And
actually, being drafted 7th, actually got drafted to the home team, to New Jersey first. Keith Van Horn got drafted.
Right, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, but Keith Van Horn had the power agent. He had David Falk.
The power.
Yeah, I mean, come on. At that particular time, early, late 90s, he had the guy. So Keith basically was like, he don't want to go down there and play with the brothers.
Yeah.
So that's how I got traded actually on draft day. For me, it was cool to go to Philly because, I was a guy that can handle the ball, shoot the ball. I was quick enough to keep up with AI and Stackhouse. So I felt as though it was going to be, a perfect blend for us. With Stack being at the 2, Allen at the 1, and me at the 3.
Yeah.
But my rookie year, Larry Brown just tried to run me in the ground, man. He just tried to, run me in the ground, keep me off the court as much as he can, because they seen the potential in me. And then going into my second year, going back to the power agent, he pretty much got me up out of there. Because a lot of people forget that he had Allen Iverson as well.
Yeah.
Early on. So, that's why you see Allen playing with all of the role players, because they basically put that team together. But I enjoyed it, man. I thought that if I would have stayed in Philly, I could have been, Allen's Pippen, and could have got it done, because I didn't need a lot of shots to get my numbers.
Right.
And that's no knock against Chuck, but, you give me 15, I'm going to come out with 20, 20 plus, So, I mean, it was just, for me, being close to home, being in the area where I knew, going to school there and all that. I mean, it just made sense. It was perfect for me.
We got in the league in 2000, and the Lakers ran off 3 straight. But that year, we watched so much basketball, but that year, the only team that I felt could beat them was the Bucks. Like, with you, Sam Cassell, Big Dog, like, y'all squad was equipped to beat them, and y'all beat them twice, like, I think in first 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, we watching the game, and I felt like Philadelphia cheated y'all.
There was a lot of conspiracy behind that.
But what them Bucks teams with Ray and Sam and you and Big Dog and like all that, like, just talk about them years and like y'all was trying to get over that hump, because I felt like y'all was like, we used to call y'all 2-point geezers, like none of y'all missed.
Well, for me, when I got traded there, I never really wanted to be there. I was trying to get out from day one.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to go to Milwaukee.
No, it wasn't because of the city. It was just because of the team, the way the team was.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I'm like, you have Big Dog. He's still, in his contract, so he's gonna play. You know how it goes.
Right.
The money plays before the talent.
Yeah.
And then you had Ray, who was, trying to establish himself, and then you had Sam coming off of winning 2 NBA championships. So I'm like, listen. These guys are good. They're enough. I don't need to be here. Like, you could have sent me to Memphis and let me, figure it out, because all my peers was in position where they was able to go out and do their thing. And then here I am coming from Philly, where I can do my thing a little bit, and then now I'm going to Milwaukee, and now I got to figure out this 6-man role. So it was difficult, but we had some great runs. We kept running into that talented Indiana team. Detroit used to beat us up, never wanted to let us in the playoffs.
Right.
And then I really still to this day don't know how we lost to Philly, in the conference finals. But I mean, Allen was just, terrific at that particular time, man. He was a natural killer. Yeah, man, we was right there. We was a very, very talented team, but we just never could get over that hump.
Hey, that's a different perspective though that you giving as far as like, cause I never thought about it how you just said it when you went there. I was just thinking, man, they about to get 10 times, they about to be even more loaded. But you're not thinking about. I'm not looking at it from a. You know what I'm saying? If I look at it from me, first couple years in the league, now we young guns, we trying to hit this springboard and go become who we want to be. And it's even more hard, like you say, when you see your peers in them positions, they being given them opportunities to go out there and shine. I can remember our rookie year sitting at the crib and watching Mo Pete for the Raptors be in the playoffs, and I was like, dang, bruh. Like, this is what I wish like, you know what I'm saying? He got drafted later. I'm back there like, man, I'd have went 22 to be in the playoffs, and I like, forget it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's definitely a different perspective that me, even as a player, I was a young player then, but I wasn't looking at it like that.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to get out, man, because I was still in my rookie deal.
Right.
I really had no control. So the only way to get out was to be traded. So, I went through my ups and downs, man. I was frustrated. At that time I had Arn Tellem, who was really a baseball agent, coming into the basketball world. And he signed all the young bucks like myself, Kobe, T Mac. I believe Antoine was with us, Antoine Walker. But yeah, man, it was difficult. But the game is the game, man. You just got to figure it out.
0405, you go to the Knicks.
Mhm.
Like New York, you right across the wall to New Jersey. Like,
Right.
how was that being in New York? Like, right, real close to crib. I know Philly was close, but New York
Right.
was close.
It was everything, man. Growing up as a Knicks fan, having a couple of opportunities in high school to play in the Garden, but to put on that Knicks gear, man, it meant everything. To me, the family. It was just like a dream come true when you could play for the home team. I thought that we had a talented team early on. Lot of veteran guys. But we was kind of banged up a little bit. But it was a thrill, man, to be able to be home and be in that environment, playing the guard and get booed, all of that kind of stuff that comes with it, man. So it was great.
Tell people about you just said like being in the Garden, they get booed, and just you being a East Coast Jersey guy, knowing how that is. Just tell people how that is to be a Nick and that whole vibe. Because I remember when we was there, I used to look at you every day. It was like me and you only got like 40 games in that season, guy. But my everlasting memory. And I tell you this all the time, like. Tim was the happiest dude all the time. Tim come in, got that big cheese on, like, sup, doggy? Sup, doggy? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo.
Uh-huh.
He like, man, it like none of it, like you to me wore it and dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? You did your thing. You came, put in your work, you went to the games,
Right.
and then you did your thing after. You didn't sweat it. Like, so tell me what was your perspective on all of that and how you dealt with it so well.
Growing up, you know what it's about with the media and all of that with the vibes and stuff there. But a lot of people don't know. I lost my sister and my cousin within a 2-week span of that
Mhm.
season. I mean, Q, but
Right.
I was just trying to hold it all in, for the family and just have a different perspective on life and where I was
Yeah.
at that particular time. I remember playing, I think we was playing, we was playing LeBron and them at home. And I shot a straightaway three, and I hit the side of the backboard. And the fans was just going crazy, boo, boo. And I'll never forget, LeBron ran down, was like, come on, man, you better than that. I know you're going through a lot, but you better than that. And that at that point right there, it kind of flipped for me because I realized like this is a game we love and this is something that, you can get your mind off it. Don't bring, the death part of it to the arena. Enjoy, what you do with the fellas and traveling and the play. So that's why you always see me bubbly like that, Q, because it was like when I was able to leave the house environment and then get to work and be around the fellas and joke and all that stuff, that was my energy right there. That was the vibes I needed at that particular time.
I don't remember at what point I figured it out, but how did you get tight with 50 and the G Unit movement? And like, cause I remember you coming in, you used to have G Unit gear, and then like even as to fast forward to recent, you get the whole power season before everybody else get it. 50, I didn't seen it. 50 said him though, he got the whole joint before it even come out. Like, yeah, he know you gonna
stay
be
on
solid.
My page, Q. Stay on my page.
Hey, you know me. I'm with you, bro. I'm like, so talk about, because I remember when we was there, you had them come around a couple times, and I was like, man,
Right.
10 times we get tight with 50, huh?
Well, actually, what happened was the G Unit office was right across the street from the Garden.
I remember that because we used to park right under there.
Right, used to park right up under there. So one particular game, I don't know which game it was. Lloyd Banks came to an actual game, and the fans rushed him. So my security went over to help him out, to hold him down for that actual game. So after the game, I don't know if you remember, that was the time that Banks and I believe Yayo was with him, came in the locker room.
In the locker room, right.
Yeah, and that's when the first introduction happened.
Okay, so all right, okay.
So from that night, instead of going out to eat dinner, I went straight across the street for dinner.
To the studio.
To the office.
Right.
And that's when I met 50 and everybody. And, at that point, it just became a family thing. Everybody was just so down to earth and cool, whatever. And then, they started coming around more to more games and stuff like that. And
he used to always have his car over there, like a Phantom with the cover on it and stuff. Because I remember a couple times, my partner Rio used to tell me, like, man, 50 want to meet you one time, want you to come to the office or whatever. We never got a chance to really make it happen, but we definitely. That was like, I was like, man, because I remember you came, you used to have the gear on. Then I said, yo, I didn't know that was the first time you met him though. When they came, like, I thought you had already knew him already and everything.
No,
that was crazy.
Yeah, that was the very first time, and that's when he was super, super hot.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, and then going across the street and finally getting a chance to meet him, just the way we vibe, man, was just cool.
I still got my Reebok G Units to this day. And my Shine Carters.
Yeah. Yeah, but you guys are Jordan babies, man.
Yeah.
Don't let MJ hear that. It's over.
Hey, look, you know me, I'm straight up and down. You see behind me, first and last.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
How roller coaster is the season for you to go to 3 different cities and play for 3 different cities?
From New York, Chicago to Phoenix?
Man.
Yeah. Well, the situation with, I was in New York and I was coming off the books, meaning that was the last year of my deal. And then Chicago was always upset at me because BJ Armstrong, who retired, turned agent with Arnatellum my free agency year, went back and told the Bulls that I was coming to the Bulls. I was going to sign. I believe at that time, it was after me and Eddie Jones to come after the team had broke up and everything. And that's when they brought in the young fellas, Tyson and Ron Artest and all those guys.
That's a forgotten time. EJ in the Bulls uniform. I lightweight forgot about that, man.
Yeah. So that was their rookie year. And then I was like, nah, I'm going to go back to Milwaukee to try to, get deep in the playoffs again or whatever. But no, man, once I got to Chicago, it was basically, it was putting me on the shelf due to what BJ said. So it was like, you're not going to play here. I believe that was Derrick Rose's rookie year or his second year.
Mm-hmm.
But it was basically like, look, man, you're not going to play here. And they had Scott Skiles there, and I'm like, I don't really respect you. But he was, got caught as an alcoholic back in the day, and you trying to, tell an old vet, some of these young things to do and stuff like that. So I basically was just trying to get up out of there. And then once they finally released me, they made me go west. So initially I was going to go to San Antonio because at that time San Antonio was going to the chip almost every year. But Phoenix was a great opportunity because the big guys was hurt. Kurt Thomas and Stat was hurt at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically said, look, if you come in, you're going to play right away. 30 games left. And then, hopefully we have a nice run in the playoffs. And that's how it happened, man. It was crazy, but the most important thing for me was just trying to find a way to stay in shape.
This was the stretch where I call it amazing because, like, as tough as it was, you went to all these teams, but then it was like you hit a stretch where it's like, all right, he might be out or whatever. I'm about to sign, play with like 40 games, and then bag me. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, because you got it to Phoenix and you balled out. So then you come to all season.
Right.
You was probably the most well-paid journeyman I've seen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how was that for you?
Like I said, it was crazy, man. I mean, playing in New York, starting the season off, camp and all of that, and then getting traded, midway through, getting to Chicago and just basically shutting everything down, as far
Right.
as body and stuff like that. Because I didn't practice. I went on trips. I didn't practice whatsoever. I worked out on my own in hotels or at the facility. And then it got to a point where it was like, we don't even want you around the team. I was like, all right, perfect.
Man.
So at that time, the family was still living in New York. So I went back to New York. I was running through Manhattan, going to Basketball City, all that crazy stuff. And then getting to Phoenix, man, I was just ready. As football players, if you get injured, you out 2 weeks. When you come back, it's like, it's on.
Yeah, I remember because that was always a theme in the games when you would be playing well. They'd be like, he's been sitting out and he hasn't.
And then at the same time was a free agent. So, I wanted to put myself in a good position to get another bag, and that was my third contract. And I actually went to the Clippers. I was really 5 minutes away from signing with the Lakers. So could you imagine me and LO on the same team with Cole?
Ooh, that'd have been crazy.
That was the same year Ramadovich was a free agent. He was coming from the Clippers, and we had just beat the Lakers and the Clippers in the playoffs, and both teams was looking for shooters. So, at that time, the Clippers offered 4 for 24. The Lakers offered 4 for 24, and Phoenix was 3 for 15. And before I can get back on the phone and call the Lakers and like, yeah, I'm gonna take that deal, Ramadovich had already took the deal. So that's how I ended up with the Clippers. Because during that 04-05 year, that's when I had purchased my house out here in LA. So I wanted to go back home to finish it off.
I want to talk about like basketball politics because people don't realize, like in the NBA, you can be on a team, nothing wrong, and the upstairs will be like, it's a younger team and you're a little older, so upstairs will be like, I don't want you to come in and work out and practice while the team practices. So I either got to work out an hour before they practice or an hour after they practice. Then it go from, you go on the trip with the team, and just because you don't have nothing to do because y'all won't play me or even give me a jersey, you know what? We don't even want you to travel no more or be around the team. And some people don't know the politics of that. And it ain't all about, he's a bad person or he did something wrong or does somebody out. It's just that you will go to the team and the politics of it will be like, yeah, we ain't fucking with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's always politics and everything, across the board. But for me, I learned at the early age with the Sixers. I was told that me and Allen was the only 2 untradeable players. I had a meeting with the GM, the coach, and the owner. And 10 minutes later, after I left the meeting, I was already gone to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I learned that at an early age. And then with the Chicago thing, man, that really wasn't my fault. I mean, BJ Armstrong was the assistant GM, and he felt like because we had the same agent that maybe he got some insight on talking to the agent and thought that was going to be my decision. But yeah, man, a lot of times as players, I mean, we go through that kind of stuff. And you guys know, man, like you might have been on a team where you felt as though you was better than, the person ahead of you, but he had a bigger check than you. So it's like, it's like the circus come see the clowns and the tigers. That's what it is, The money guys, the money guy's going to, play ahead of you. So, I mean, it's just politics and everything, man. But yeah, man, I learned that early on, and then going through that situation with Chicago was hell. And even when I moved on from that, like they was telling Phoenix that, I was a bad person, and I got fined 20, 30 times. I'm like, well, where's show me the pinks. Even all the way down to Dallas, my last 2 years of playing. I mean, it was telling Dallas like he's a bad person, he's this, he's that. And I never got fined in Chicago.
Okay, our teammates talking about you a bad person.
Yeah, none of that. None of that.
No teammates. Everybody rock with Tim.
But they didn't want me to follow, well, I didn't follow the rules that they were setting at that particular time because I thought it was dumb. They was doing psychological classes where they would put a tree in front of you and ask you, what is that? Or put a tire in front of you and say, what is that? And I'm like, this has nothing to do with basketball. But, you had all those young guys at that time. And the vets on that team was myself and Lindsey Hunter.
Yeah.
And, Lindsey was on his way out and he was close to home,
Yeah.
Being in Chicago. I think he was living in Detroit. But, I mean, at that time, man, it was weird. But it was business is business and politics is politics.
Hey, tell me, how does it feel? Because I see how much of an impact you have back in New Jersey and what you do with with your AAU team, the players, and tell me how it is for you to be able to give back and make such an impact with that program.
Oh man, it's great. It's everything, man. It's 23 years. I started that my rookie year down in Philly. And it's been great, man. We produced 24 NBA players, 19 McDonald All-Americans. Thousands of kids went to college. And also on the girls' side, I have a girls' AAU program, New Jersey Sparks. And that's 22 years, and we have 6 WNBA players. So
that's
what it's about, man. I mean, you get put in a position where you're blessed, and you want to be able to help others, and those programs definitely have done their part. And now we have a new program. The players is kind of done. There's a new program called New Jersey Scholars Elite, which is basically the same thing. Another AAU program, Nike EYBL program, and it's it's all about giving back, man. It's all about giving back. And then now I'm on a school board at the school called Pioneer Academy in Wayne, New Jersey. And then
I saw that.
Also, head of basketball operations. So, we're going to turn that thing into an East Coast version of Mount Verdi or IMG, where we, give these kids what they've been missing. A lot of times these kids, they play AAU ball, they get their rank and recognition and stuff like that, but they really don't have the skill set to survive.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids go into it, they really don't even hit the college floor till they end of their sophomore year, junior year. And these are the same kids talking about they want to be pros, So to have 2 years to try to get it done is kind of difficult. So, we just want to prepare our kids for when they touch the floor their freshman year or go to campus their freshman year, they're able to hit that floor a little bit.
Yeah, when I was in high school, we played against the Tim Thomas players. And I had Tony Yell and Eddie Griffin.
Darius and so.
When I play, man, I know every
Switch played for y'all too, right?
Who?
JR.
Yeah, JR. Yeah.
Earl Clark played for y'all.
Yeah.
That's my young boy, Easy.
Yeah.
When your game is so dope, you one of my favorite people to watch play. Like, who instilled the game in you? Like, who you watch coming up? Like, who was them guys like, man, I want to be like them, or just put it in you?
Growing up, man, early on TV at that particular time, if it was local, you watched the Knicks or the Nets, whenever you could. But for the most part, the national games, you watch Magic and Bird. So, being tall, being 6'9", I always, wanted to be able to do all things on the court. So, I watched a little bit of everybody, man, honestly, everybody. But Pip was my guy. Pippen was my guy.
You and him both.
Yeah. In high school, when the Bulls came to the East Coast or New York, New Jersey, I was always, at those games. So when Pip, came about and really, got on that superstar status, Pip was the guy for me.
Because you were watching them all.
Yeah, because he did everything. But before Pip, it was Magic. And then, of course, everybody watched MJ, but you just wanted to get that all-around game. And then also, playing against the older guys in my town and, in the parks and stuff like that, that kind of helped you. Because, on the playgrounds, man, you miss a shot or you miss a layup or they take the ball from you.
What's the name? Pick your young ass.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to grow up real fast in those parks, man. So
that's what these young kids don't really get these days.
They don't have a clue, man. They don't have a clue.
You done made McDonald's All-American games, freshman of the year, top 10 draft pick, all type of deals and money. But how did it feel to have a street named after you in your hometown, and for the whole city? You got a day, you got the key to the city, you got you got a street in your hometown named Tim Thomas.
It's great, man. It's a great honor. It's actually on 11th Ave. I lived on 11th Ave twice, coming up
That's crazy.
through my years. And it's right in front of my old high school. So, it's just the history and the aura of that building. We had guys like Kyle Henderson that went there. Darryl Watkins, he played at Syracuse, played in the NBA for a little bit. Victor Cruz came through there. Stanley Jackson, he played at Ohio State, went to, he played overseas or in Canada League for a few years. And one of the fastest guys ever from New Jersey, Jason Perry. I forget what college he went to, but he played with the Chargers for a few years. And then TJ Cummins, who's actually still in the NBA. And there's a couple other young fellas that, play football as well. But I mean, it's just a great honor, man. I mean, from my city, you have guys like Hurricane, Ruben Hurricane Carter, Abbott Costello, myself, Larry Doby. Just to be a part of that, man, it means everything.
Out of all the teams you played for, if you had to pick 4 other players, like from all the teams, if you had to pick 4 other players to play with, who would be the 4 other players?
4 other players.
All the teams you played with, you combine them all, who the 4 players out of all of them you would pick?
All right, I'm gonna go Allen at the 2, Steve at the 1. I put myself at the 3. Oh man. I'll put Derek Coleman at the 4.
Ooh, DC.
Yeah, and at the 5, man, I'll probably go Mutombo at the 5.
Kimbe.
No. Love Big Dikembe, man.
I got another for you. This gonna be a little tricky. This gonna be a little tricky. You start, bench, cut, but one more, kick them out the league. So it's just 4 players, start, bench, cut, or kick them out the league.
Damn, why you gotta kick them out the league?
You naming the players? Are you naming the players?
The players is Durant, LeBron, Bird, and Pippen.
I gotta start one, kick one out the league.
Start one, bench one, cut one, the other one out the league.
What hit you with a curveball?
Yeah, like I'm gonna have to kick Bird out the league, which don't make no sense.
Larry Legend is getting. Listen to this.
I know.
Go ahead.
I know, but look at the list he gave.
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is the predicament he put you in, right?
I'm gonna have to kick Bird out the league. I'm gonna start LeBron, and I'm gonna have to bench KD.
And you're gonna have to cut Pip.
And I'm gonna have to cut Pip.
Oh.
You gotta make sure you say it, Bird.
Yeah, that's it.
We're going off of right now, but normally I will flip it around.
Yeah,
right.
I will flip it around. KD will probably be out the league, and then I will probably start Pip.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one? Bench. I probably would bench Bird.
You coming up, you've seen a lot of basketball, and you've seen a lot of guys along the way, from the Twine Walkers to the Kobe's to Jermaine O'Neal's. And when we go through this AAU circuit and this whole high school thing, we see so many guys, and we see guys that we thought was finna make it, and guys that, did make it or surprised us that make it. Like, who was that guy that was like, when you seen him coming up and all that stuff, he was just a walking bucket?
My guy from Chicago, Ronnie Fields. Ronnie Fields was amazing, man. I mean,
for real.
Just the way, he played the game, and it looked so easy, to him. He had like that grown man strength. similar to myself, but
Straight
and
up.
all the guys in our class, but he was just different, man. And I wish the accident would have never happened. I wish he would have been able to showcase his talent in the '96 McDonald's All-American game and that Magic Round Ball game. And he's a guy that I know for sure. If he would have been able to lace him up in our league, he would have really, did some damage. Could you imagine him and Vince Carter in a slam dunk contest?
I'm telling you, he was definitely going. I feel like he was definitely going straight out, and I feel like he definitely would have either won or competed or put on a crazy show in the dunk contest because he used to.
When we was coming up, different high school showcases or even during AAU time. If it was certain guys that played before you, you had to get to the gym and check them out. And I remember being in, I think we was in Cincinnati, and Ronnie was playing before us. And normally, you don't like to. When you walk in the gym, you want to control the gym. You know how it is, swag, the swag, and all that. But I was like, no, I got to go see Ronnie, man. And he put on the show before us, and then I capped it off. But Ronnie Fields, man, was definitely a guy that back then, if you had the opportunity to go see him play, you would have definitely been impressed.
So we was same conference as him, bro. I was in the same conference as him. He
High
was a year
school?
older than me. Yes, he was a year older than me, but I got this, up close and personal.
Right.
The boy gonna walk on air, like telling you, levitate. He had the Jordan jean, like he had the walk.
Yeah.
That man to lay out in air. He wasn't 6'6". That's what made it crazy. He was like 6'3" or something. And I'm talking about
6'4" or something. Right.
Man, boy used to get up in the air, boy. Him and Paul McPherson in Chicago, they was the levitators. Them boys used to fly.
Yeah, Ronnie, we was in a couple of circuits together. We didn't play against each other that much, but we was always in the same area. So, guys like that, when they on that list and they're right there, it's like, let me go scout a little bit and see what he got going on. But
you working with?
Ronnie was different, man. He could score the ball inside, outside, jump over you, all of that kind of thing. And was strong enough to carry you as well. So I could just imagine, Q, you having to go up against that, man.
Right. Straight up.
When I came out, they was trying to give me the credit of, oh man, you the first 6'9" guy to dribble the ball and all that stuff. But like that truly, like I tell everybody all the time, like, man, me seeing you play or seeing Lamar Odom, like Twan Walker was a guy who dribbled the ball. Of course, Pip with the point forward and stuff. Like, I was the guy who kind of paved the way for me to even think that I can be 6'9" and dribble and be fast and, you know what I'm saying, and actually can play on the wing. Because, being a big guy, the first thing coming up in high school, you the center of the power forward.
Right.
If you got somebody bigger than you, you're going to be power forward. But if not, you're going to play center. I don't give a fuck how much you can dribble.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, during pro-am, I played on the wing. During high school, I played center. When I got to the league, I finally played the three with a coach. You know what I'm saying? Was that the same experience, like, kind of for you?
No, not for me. In high school, I pretty much did what I wanted to do in high school.
Everything.
And you guys could go on I Am Tim Thomas, the documentary, check out some old clips. I'm putting a doc together. But in high school, man, I was all over the place. I played, 1 through 5 in high school. And then, my college decision basically came down to me being able to play the three. And that's why I went to Nova. And then, going into the league, man, I was like, look, I'm, you know how you put it down, either you go power forward or small forward. Nope, strictly small forward. Like,
right.
But no, man, like, playing in the greatest era in those 90s, man, you had a lot of guys that can handle the ball.
6'9", 6'10".
Yeah, deadlift strength, guys like that, man, that, really can shoot the ball and handle the ball and, get everybody involved. So the game was changing at that particular time, but, we latched on at the perfect time, D, because, now when you watch the NBA now, you just see us in all
us. Yeah.
You see us 6'9", 6'10", shooting threes and stuff like that. So
how is it when you look at Kevin Durant? Because that's basically some DNA off of you. to see Kevin Durant, 6'10", guy, dribble, shooting it from range, long dunking. He do everything. He post up.
Right.
Like, to see a guy like that play and knowing that's from that point forward, small forward DNA. Right. Like, how that?
I remember his rookie year, and I'm like, well, first of all, Kevin Durant is 7 foot. Let's stop saying that he's 6'11". He's the 7-footer, right? That's number one. So
right.
I remember his rookie year, man, playing against him, and I'm like, man, like, okay, yeah, I'm getting a little older, but he just reminded me so much of myself, you know, coming in. I mean, he wasn't as bulk and as strong, but skill set wise, I'm like, you know, this guy is out on the 3-point line, just crossover after crossover after crossover. And
whatever you want.
Yeah, and still having his balance and, you know, stuff together to be able to get a good shot off. And anytime you get a good shot off, man, with that height, you know, it's almost a 90% chance that it's going in. But no, man, I mean, it's great, man, when you look at just the way the game has changed and, you know, knowing that you was a guy that was pretty much doing that at an early age. I remember my Milwaukee days. I was, you know, 6 man, and I was the first sub. It didn't matter for who.
Right.
Yeah. You coming. You come.
And like you said, you know, earlier, D, you know, playing against, you know, Shaq, you know, having to guard Shaq on one end and then, you know, having him guard me on the other end and, you know, being able to stretch the floor, shoot threes or go around them or whatever the case may be. You know, it was everything, man. I remember playing in the playoffs. I believe it was 01 or maybe 2000 against the Pacers, and they had the Davis boys out there, strong, big Rick Smits, and you know, I was just using my skill set and stuff to get around them. You know, my quickness, handling the ball, and stuff like that. So, you know, now, like we just said, man, now when you watch the game now, man, you see all of that. You know, just 6'10", 6'9", you know, 6'11", 7-footers, you know, handling shooting the ball, man. It's amazing.
You came in and caught a few years of this era. So watching The Last Dance and everything that went on with that, what was your takeaways? Like, how did you feel about the documentary? I mean, obviously we all loved it and it was crazy, but what was it any like type of new information that you really didn't know or that you kind of knew or something like that?
Just the insight on MJ. I love all of the stuff, the pregame stuff, how he was kind of separate, away from everybody else, no matter where he was at. I think that was amazing. You know, you get a chance to really get some insight on, you know, just the beginning of the game, him wearing new shoes, you know, almost every game. That's unheard of.
Back then, especially.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. But no, man, I mean, just overall, it was great, man, just to get some insight on, you know, how he pushed the new players that never really won the championship and stuff like that. So
that was a little tripped out thing to see how like he would be separate, like you say, in a different locker room or something. Like, where he at? Like, what he doing?
Right, with the coffee and the security guys and everybody else somewhere else. So it's a little different, man.
He had his own office, like like assistant coaches. Though they say,
right. Yeah, and then, you know, me being a former Bull, just, you know, kind of going back in my mind a little bit, trying to think about the locker room, like, okay, so that was his room over here. That's where he was chilling at all the time.
Yeah, and I seen some people make tweets to play with the Bulls, like, man, we ain't never pulled all the way up into the arena like that. Then they said, oh, I had to look at the Red Range and remember who that was doing it. Like, okay, I forgot. He probably got a special little spot in there somewhere.
Yeah. It was only a few people that was allowed to pull up in there. You know, I wasn't allowed to pull up in there on my years. They would want me to take the bus to the game.
It was raining, they don't let you up in that zone.
Right. Tim? Not Tim. You got to park outside.
Tell me about your documentary you're doing. I mean, obviously I know about it because we talk and I follow you on social media and stuff. But tell me about what you're doing with your Tim Thomas documentary.
Well, a lot of times, man, you know, us as former players and retired players, you know, the younger generation don't really get a chance to really grasp what you was back then. So it's just basically just trying to show the kids, you know, how I grew up in Patterson, the small town that I grew up in Patterson, all the obstacles I had to go through, you know, in the early 80s. Of course, everybody watched that Lean on Me
Right.
And I grew up right there, like literally in that same block when the crack era hit, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's just, my story, and then also showing, the basketball side of it with being at Passing Catholic, and just the growth throughout the years with going to college, in the NBA, and, it's just some of the things that happened to me.
Coming from where we come from, the first day we'd be like, nah, I'll take this to the grave. I don't got to say nothing about nothing or bring nothing up. But now we in the era that, man, and I'm older now and I got kids now. It's like, man, I want to tell my story. I want to hear Tim Thomas' story. I want to hear this person's story. It's like, we're in the day and age now, and it feels so good to kind of release that. Like to let it get out your mind or something like that. And that was one of the things doing with TPT, doing with the article, or even doing this. One thing I love about our podcast and what we're doing, man, we get to be fans of guys that, man, we admire and we appreciate it. And some guys don't even know that we even felt this way. When we played, I'm not finna tell you I fuck with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not
gonna kill mode. Exactly.
When I seen the Bucky out squad, I'm like, man, them boys. I look big dog, my guy, like, oh, Tim Thomas, man, they got Mace over that bitch. You know what I'm saying? You see him, but it's like when you get on that court, you can't give them no love. You gotta show this. And I'm just glad to even be on a platform like this where I can give players like you and all the players that I grew up admiring. Even when I was playing, I was admiring for them to tell them like, man, I thought you was just one of the dopest.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. We all appreciate it, man, as former players, man. I definitely love what you guys are doing, man. I've been tuned in.
When you first got the bag, what did you do? You know how we all did something where it was like, I don't know if it was a whip, if it was some jewelry, or it could have been both. What you know what I'm saying? What did you do when you got the bag? And then, but also with that question, if I'm correct, you didn't have the rookie scale when you came in, right?
No, we had the our scale was I think it was a 5-year. The rookie deck was like a 5-year, but it was definitely a limit on it. I don't know exactly what.
Oh, okay, so you came in after they had put the limit in.
Yeah,
okay. I thought
after Big Dog fucked it up, you
missed it by 1 year. Then you missed it by 1 year though, because Jo was in it. Jo got the whatever.
Jo went straight to the lead, 96.
Right. So him and Kobe, then you missed it by 1 year.
Yeah, that was my
Big Dog.
Yeah. Big Dog. Okay. Big Dog killed it, but
yeah. So what did you do when you got the bag?
Man, actually, when I first signed with my agent, the very first thing I got, and I still was in the hood. I got the big body, the S600. That was the first thing. So I had a car sitting outside my house, or our apartment at that time, worth more than we had in the bank at General. So that was the first thing. And then once I really got my hands on my actual money, the first thing I did was take care of my mom's. So I got her a house, got her situated and everything. And then, for me, I was going to constantly be on the road, so playing in Philly, I didn't want to, buy a home there when I knew in the summer I was going to go back to Jersey. So I was just renting everywhere else. But that was the first two things that I actually got. I had to
big body.
I had to pay my body. Yeah, I had to pay my agent back for the big body, and then I got my mom's, got her situated.
Yes, Lord.
Yeah. Yep, black on black too. That's how we like it, right, D?
Oh, black on black. Light skin cats don't know that. They want all the balls black. Everything. You know it.
Coming back like the Batmobile.
Straight up. Straight up. You know it. Everything black.
Yeah.
But you just made his millennium right now, bro.
Hey, us black ones know this.
Hey,
D. Color black. I need everything black.
Right. Anytime Q getting on you, doing the rest of y'all podcast series, just let them know you're gonna call TT, and I'm
straight up. Straight up, all black everything.
All black everything.
Hey man, that's a wrap, man. It's been real. We've been chilling with our OG, our big homie,
the legend,
New Jersey legend. We got Tim Thomas in the building with us, man. We appreciate you, bro.
All the time, man. It's always love, fellas. My young fellas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.